Now let's look at the balance of payment trend. So since 1892, the United States has experienced continuous deficit on current accounts. So it means that US experienced continuous trade deficit and then continuous surplus on the capital account. So people invest in the US. During the same period, Japan has experienced the opposite. So Japan has a surplus on trade and then the deficit on capital. So this is a balance of the payment trend from 1982 to 2015, and this is US. And as you see, the current account actually trend keep changing, right? But it also match with the capital account. So they basically offset each other. Japan has this trend, still current account usually surplus, the capital account usually negative. In China, actually before 2000 is almost balanced. And then after 2000, the current accounts increase a lot. So like Japan, still there are lots of investment in China. So capital account still is surplus too. So there's a lot of surpluses actually in China, but obviously there's a reserve matching with these surpluses. So United States and the United Kingdom tends to realize current accounts deficit, where China, Japan, Germany, which is usually the trade surplus countries, tend to realize current account surplus. These global imbalances implies that the United States and the United Kingdom generally use more output than they produce, so that they need to import. So we need basically spend more things than we produce in the United States. So we need to import. The opposite holds for China, Japan, Germany, which means that in China, Japan, Germany, those people actually use less than they produce so that they can export. I mean, there's no good thing, bad thing for here. It really depends on the, supply chain problems, the trading things like that. So, trade, basically the free trade enhance our economy, and we actually get a lot of benefit from free trading too. So even though we have deficit, it doesn't really mean that we are losing money. We are not losing money. We actually also get benefit from this trading free trade system. There's people who criticize actually about this the deficit, having deficit, which is called the mercantilism. So mercantilism hold that the country should avoid trade deficit at all costs. So they have to have trade surplus, even to imposing various restrictions on imports. So they basically increase the barrier for importing goods. It's like what Donald Trump administration actually tried to do. So they put the tariff, they kinds of impose restrictions on the import so that they can decrease the import and increase the export so that they have trade deficit. They avoid trade deficit. That's called mercantilism. This idea was criticized actually 18th century by such British thinker Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and David Hume, because it actually decreased the efficiency of the economy. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we produce goods here or not. Actually, we can actually provide services. A lot of jobs in the United States is actually service-related job. I mean, and we also can use goods at a cheaper price and comparative market. So they argued that the main source of wealth in a country is actually not the trade surplus itself, but productive capacity. So productive capacity basically may increase even though we have trade deficit, because trade itself actually increases the utility of the efficiency and the utility of the whole economy. This is the top trade partners as of 2015. So number one trade partner, obviously China. We all know that. And trade balance is negative. There's some countries that we have some surplus, but not so much actually. Mostly we use the goods from these countries like Canada, Mexico, Japan, Germany, Korea, UK, France, And these are the trading partners. And clearly China is number one. That's why we are concerning that this like a virus issue, current virus issue actually may hurt our economy because now the supply chain of China can be destroyed, So that's big concern in the market. So summarizing this chapter, the balance of payment is the statistical record of a country's international transaction over a certain period of time. Any transaction resulting in a receipt from foreigner is a credit, resulting in payments to foreigner is debit. And countries' international transaction can be grouped into three categories: current account, capital account, and official reserve account. And because we have some error, we may have some error, there is a statistical discrepancies in practice.